Spirit card writing is a phase of mediumship that most people basically consider to be a magic act. And it really does look like a magic act, but it's not. This is my current spirit basket. It's a little box. And it's contained, it has like color pencils and different things in it. And then it's got index cards that are blank. May have a little writing on them, but they're basically blank cards. And I sit and meditate with this. My teachers, they just take them and they make someone in the audience has never seen them, and they just drop them in there and put them in there. They put a little box on them. They put it up on the podium if it's for a church service or a circle, or they'll just sit it over there, and then they'll go around the room and give messages to everyone. And when they're finished, then they'll open up, and magically these cards will seem to appear. But Spirit has the ability to take from the medium's body and the sitters in the room. It's called etherealized protoplasm. They draw this energy from them, and the energy goes in the box with the spirit helpers. And they don't have to take the tops off the magic markers. They can just put them in there with it on there. They don't have to take them off. They can just pop it in there like that. Put the top on it. And the next thing, the cards come out completely done. A lot of people think that someone's done them before and there's a sleight of hand or whatever, but in a church service, a lot of time the basket is nowhere near the medium. It's out there where everybody can see it. And there's people sometimes that drive from 5 different states, and the person working the church service has no idea who's going to walk on the door. But sure enough, out of the 200 people in the audience, there's probably about 30 people that get a card. And when they get the card, they look at it, and sometimes it has their signature on it, just like they sign their checks. Now, how would the person that's working the platform know that if they've never seen them before? But yet, it's signed just like they sign their checks. Then there can be a message on there, something they thought about all week long, and it's written on the card itself. And it could have been written by their dad, who's been dead 20 years, but it's his handwriting, and it's on the card. Or it could be a Bible quote. Or say your cat died and there's a paw print, your little cat's walked across the card. Or there's actually a photograph of your cat on the card. Well, guess what? If you get a card, you get to actually take it home and keep it. So on the wall behind me, there's a whole collection of spirit card writing that I've received since I've been going to camp, and even on my own, because I have the ability to do it. It's a phase of medium, you have to sit for it for a long time. A lot of people don't realize that even though they might want to develop this particular gift, all the people I know that have it have trained and served churches and traveled, and you have to sit with a teacher that has the right chemicals within their body, and you yourself have to have the right chemicals. And there's only 1 in every 100,000 that has the right chemicals in their body to produce enough ectoplasm to be able to do these phases of mediumship. So some of my cards are, here's one with Jesus on it, and there's Dr. Michelson. That's my friend Richard, who is a very famous photographer in Atlanta. He died in 1995, and that's exactly what he looked like. He was also famous for platinum photography, and this particular card has a lot of platinum coloring in it. On the back has my name on there, and it has the names of my guides. And Bill English, that was actually his signature, the way he signed his checks. My friend Virginia Southern died in 96. Her name is on here. But some of them are just spelled out. Some are actually in cursive, actually like their real handwriting. So that's one example. And then behind me, there's lots of other different cards that I have. This one I got in September of 2002. And I was in Roanoke, Virginia. It's Reverend Hoyt Robinette. And he's amazing. And I'd signed up for 2 circles at the church. You have to go into and sign up with the secretary and prepay to be in the circle. So the first night I went in, and at that time I was married, so my name was Charlene Hicks Campbell, and that's why I signed up on the sheet of paper that the church secretary has. Well, that night was the harvest full moon in September. It was a full moon, and I have been to NASA on the Space Coast press tour in 97, and lo and behold, I've never ever gotten a picture of Night Dancer, my Indian guide, and that night was the full moon, and there's Night Dancer, and he looks like he's from MTV. I couldn't believe it. And then the moon on there is incredible. The detail looks like a NASA photo. This is a spirit card. On the back of the card, you'll see my name, Charlene Hicks Campbell, And then it's got all these other names. Night Dancers on there, Serapis Bay and Saint Germain. They're all on there. And that's the first night that I got it. Okay. So now the next one I want to show you, because there's a reason I'm showing these cards. The next night I go and I get this particular card, and it's Chief Red Horse. And he's a Arapaho Indian, and he helps me with spirit card writing, believe it or not. So on the back, this time, and remember my name's supposed to be Charlene Hicks Campbell, this time it shows Charlene M. Hicks on here. And I thought, well, that's kind of odd, since my name's supposed to be Charlene Hicks Campbell. And I'm like, this is my maiden name, and they're putting my maiden name on there. And then it says Serapis Bay, and it's got Big Elk, Little Flower, and then Chief Red Horse on here. And then the third day, I didn't even sign up for cards. I just signed up 2 days. And my teacher told me that my name was on the list. And I said, you're kidding. I said, well, I didn't pay for it. He says, you're supposed to be in there. So I go that Sunday. Well, that Sunday, I get this one. And Jesus is on the card. I have never, ever gotten one with Jesus on it. Notice he's floating above the water. This man in here is Dr. Michelson. He's my doctor teacher. And he looks like someone from maybe the 30s or the 40s. And then there's Jesus. Looks very ethereal. His little hands, he's floating above the water. Well, what does that mean? Then you turn it on the back and it says, Charlene Jesus Hicks. Jesus is telling me, go back to your maiden name. It's time to get a divorce. The marriage is not a marriage anymore, and to move on. They're telling me to rise above your emotions and master your emotions. Hence, he's floating above the water. Sure enough, guess what? My name is Charlene Hicks once again. So Spirit was telling me, I had no idea. It's like, so Spirit was giving me a message in these cards. Meanwhile, the other cards that are really significant, this one, I'm not going to take it out of the frame, but you can see the front of it. Looks kind of like a tropical place, doesn't it? So as you look closer at this, and it's really pretty, and it's done with colored pencils, not crayons, but colored pencils, and it's very detailed. I got this in 1993, and I absolutely love this one. And lo and behold, I thought, well, where is that? What kind of flower is that? Because I love flowers. I always wanted to live in a botanical garden. Well, I got this in 93, and it looks like it could be some kind of tropical place that would grow. Well, in 2003, I was at Cape Town, South Africa. And the picture, this is a jackalberry tree. The only place that this tree grows is in Cape Town. And I got this 10 years before I even went sent there. So this card is very significant to me. It's my favorite place in the whole world, Cape Town. In 1992, I got to go to Hawaii, thanks to my friend Richard, who's in this picture here, who's a famous photographer. I helped him make an awful lot of money in 10 months, and because of that, he gave me a round-trip ticket to Kauai. When I came home in my meditation, I constantly saw this woman or this person floating in water, but I never could see her feet. She had green skin, and she was very exotic looking, and she was like half naked. I couldn't figure out what it was that I was seeing in my meditation. Then with my sister and Brian and I sat for spirit and spirit card writing. I actually got this card, and it's from Juanita. She came back with me from Hawaii. The little footprints going across are the footprints from my cat, my favorite orange cat that died. He walked across the card, and there's Juanita, and she's green and she's half naked, just like I saw her in the spirit world. I had no idea that such was possible, and there she is, and it says, "Hello, Charlene" on there, and I just love this one. So that one's actually one of mine. This one is really wild. If you look at this one, it's the Ascended Masters all on this. And it's kind of 3D. When the light hits it, it changes. If I held it up against this light, it becomes very bright. And you can see them. It's like three-dimensional card. And it has on the back of it, a lot of people that have never been on my cards before, their names are spelled out on here. My grandmother's name's on here, and I've never, ever gotten her full name. And on here it says Charlotte Fuller. That's my grandmother. It's the first time, and I've been going to camp for over 10 years, that I've ever gotten a card with her name on it. And then it also has on there Virginia Southern, who took me to camp. She died in 1996. And then on here, Billy D. English, again, there's his name. That's his signature, exactly like he signs his check. He died in 1990, but still to this day, he puts his signature on my cards because he is my teacher. So those are the Ascended Masters. In the center of that circle is Serapis Bey talking to the other masters on this one. So the latest ones that I've gotten from camp or from Hoyt, basically. This one is very powerful. And the back is as interesting as the front. Notice the one big eye looking back on there? Well, that's Serapis Bey. Whenever I meditate, I always see him as a bright white light, a golden light talking to me. And on there is just one eye looking back. Well, that's how he appears on this particular card. On the back side, it has Saint Germain on here, Dr. Michelson, Little Flower, Dr. Bailey, and it has my name all spelled up. But the names that are on there are the people that are appearing on this card. But the one I recognize first and foremost is Serapis Bey on that card. All right, and then this one has, it's kind of mysterious. This one has Bill English on it. It's got Golden Eagle. It's got Richard on it, my friend. And it's got Virginia Southern, and Virginia Southern is on this card. Virginia is right there. And as she signed the back of the card, it's the first time I've ever gotten a card from her since 1996. And she appears younger on there. But that's Virginia at the bottom of this card. All right. This is really significant. The last card, or one of the next to the last cards I'm going to show you, is that a client of mine was here on October the 3rd, and I was telling him in a session about how FDR was very much into astrology. He had his astrology chart done. He knew about Mars in the 7th house, which is a house of open enemies. He always talked about it. And I've been to Warm Springs myself 3 times and walked around in there. And I always talk about him. I always talk about him in my sessions. And lo and behold, I really wanted a picture of my cat on my spirit card when I went to see my teacher back in October of 2012. Hadn't seen him in 4 years. And he called out all the names I had on my billet, and he called out FDR. And I thought, well, okay. And sure enough, when I got my card, because I've been talking about him, FDR came out on my card. There he is, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He heard me. He wanted me to know that he heard me. I've been talking about him for years, but he's actually on my card. And on the back side, you can see his name's written out on the back. Even my dad, who doesn't really understand what I do for a living, even he knew that that was FDR on this card. All right. It's this card. It was given to me by Serapis Bey. You know, a lot of people have seen the I Am America map. Well, this map is from Serapis Bey. When you think of Osiris, Serapis Bey is the Greek name for Osiris. Apis meaning the bull, the time of the Taurian age, the time of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Well, Serapis Bey drew a picture of what the world looks like in our lifetime. So if you see Atlanta, it's way up here, and there's not much of Florida. South America is much smaller. So is England. So is Africa. And it has the different portals in which I'm connected to in this lifetime. But on here it says, Dear Charlene, with you as the map maker, the journey is fulfilled. Vocations and positions are your lure, so with love you will place everything appropriately. I will be there to guide you always, Serapis Bey. So there's my version of the I Am America map. Atlanta, the other day I went to this event. They're talking about Savannah becoming a great seaport, a world trade, commerce, and it's an incredible organization. And Atlanta, we could easily be a seafaring port. And it shows basically the water is only about 90 miles off the coast of Atlanta. We'll be the largest city in the nation before too long. A lot of people have moved here, but this map is proof of it, and it's a card from Serapis Bey himself. It's my favorite one.